Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what is literally one of the most polarizing projects of the digital age. It's a system that promises to completely upend global finance, redefine how we prove our humanity, and potentially lay the actual groundwork for universal basic income. But on the flip side, it's also a project that has sparked global outrage, warehouse raids, and serious warnings of a dystopian surveillance state.
So here's the core question we need to frame up regarding this highly controversial biometric project co-founded by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. We're talking about an initiative that has already scanned the irises of millions of people, primarily in the global south, offering a crypto token in exchange for their biometric data. And the debate here is fierce. Are we building a totally necessary tool for our shared AI future, or are we sleepwalking into a global privacy nightmare that's going to affect every single one of us?
To really unpack this, we're going to use a pendulum approach today, swinging through 5 key areas. 1. The Worldcoin vision. 2. The biometric backlash. 3. WLD bull versus bear. 4. The AI market tailwind. And finally, 5. A digital crossroads.
All right, let's start with Section 1, the Worldcoin vision.
When you hear Sam Altman talk about the grand scope of this project, it's really framed as this massive experiment. Can tech step up and handle things that used to be strictly the job of nation-states, especially as AI starts automating more and more jobs? Well, to make that happen, they need a foundation, and that is proof of personhood. Basically, as AI content explodes and bots get completely indistinguishable from real humans, Worldcoin is proposing a way to verify that you are, in fact, a unique, real human on the internet. And the kicker? They want to do this without you ever having to reveal your actual real-world name or identity. This is the absolute bedrock for their ultimate vision, which is safely distributing a universal basic income.
So how does it actually work? It's a 3-pronged approach. First, you literally have to gaze into this custom piece of hardware. It's called the orb. It scans your iris to generate a unique digital hash known as an iris code, and then that original scan is supposedly deleted right away. Second, those credentials live inside the World app, which acts sort of like a digital passport for third-party apps. And third, just to incentivize this whole crazy process, users get WLD crypto tokens as a reward.
Which brings us right into Section 2, the biometric backlash.
Because, while the tech might sound seamless on paper, the real-world rollout has been anything but smooth. We're seeing widespread coordinated government pushback. The core issue here? Exchanging financial rewards for biometric data. There are active investigations underway across Europe and South America. In Kenya, which by the way was a massive early test market, the government completely suspended operations. They even raided a Worldcoin warehouse in Nairobi after users were targeted by fraudsters. And down in Brazil, the National Data Protection Agency just upheld a total ban. They rejected an appeal outright, basically saying they have deep concerns that offering cash for iris scans completely undermines a user's ability to give truly informed consent. To put some teeth into that, if Worldcoin resumes data collection in Brazil, they face a staggering $8,800 fine, and that is a daily fine. It really highlights this growing narrative from critics about technological colonialism. The argument is that the project exploited vulnerable populations in the global south with this promise of free cash for scans, simply to train and establish their global network.
But the problems aren't just regulatory, right? They're technical. We're seeing a nascent black market actually pop up for these accounts. Hackers have compromised orb operators, and legitimate users in developing nations are turning around and selling their verified world IDs to buyers in countries where the project is totally restricted, like China. This is catastrophic for the project's core promise. I mean, if people are just sharing or buying accounts, it entirely obliterates Worldcoin's foundational one person, one ID value proposition.
Moving on to Section 3, WLD, bull versus bear. Let's talk about the token itself, because Worldcoin's tokenomics are absolutely staggering. At one point, the token reached a fully diluted value of nearly $80 billion. That means if all the tokens existed today, that's what the project would be worth. But here's the catch. That valuation is based on a microscopic fraction of tokens that are actually trading. Literally only 1.4% of the supply is currently in circulation. The other 98.6% fully locked up. This creates some massive price distortions and poses a really significant risk to current buyers.
So you have these two very opposing views. The bull case points to a really simple, highly accessible AI narrative. Sam Altman is a household name, they raised $115 million from heavyweights like A16Z, and the token has real actual integrations with platforms like Shopify and Telegram. But man, the bear case is terrifying for holders. A massive 20% of the total supply begins unlocking for insiders in July. Bears argue the token is just an asset users earn purely to dump and sell immediately, and that there's just no compelling reason to hold it once that absolute tidal wave of supply hits the market.
Now let's look at Section 4, the AI market tailwind. Right now, 72.5% of major traders are betting the price of this token will go up. When the market is this heavily skewed, it creates a really dangerous coiled setup. A breakout could force all the remaining skeptics to buy in, driving prices sky high. But on the flip side, if the price drops, it could trigger a brutal chain reaction where all those optimistic traders are suddenly forced to sell, crashing the price right down with them.
Incredibly, WLD isn't even necessarily trading on its own fundamentals right now. It recently surged over 20%, basically by acting as a proxy for broader AI narratives. There's this massive hype surrounding a potential OpenAI IPO that some speculate could value the company at over $1 trillion. So traders are betting that, because of the Sam Altman connection, World ID might eventually be integrated directly into ChatGPT to verify users. And on top of that, you have aggressive app engagement campaigns like Oku Trade offering weekly swap competitions for up to 100 WLD in rewards, which is keeping trading volumes artificially high.
Which brings us to our final section, number 5, a digital crossroads. Stepping back from the charts for a minute, we are really balancing two extreme futures here. The promise is essentially utopian. Imagine a frictionless infrastructure to distribute pandemic-style relief or universal basic income instantly to every real human on Earth. It could enable a completely bot-free internet and provide a tamper-proof system for anonymous democratic voting that could totally empower citizens living under authoritarian regimes. But the peril is equally profound. If a single entity controls the database connecting physical and digital identities, well, it becomes a panoptical surveillance tool. Think about it. If you need a World ID to work, shop, or just exist online, getting banned or hacked equates to total digital excommunication. It's basically erasing your right to officially exist in the modern world.
Edward Snowden famously said, "The human body's not a ticket punch." This powerful warning from the privacy advocate really grounds these lofty technological ambitions in the fundamental right to bodily privacy. He argues that we shouldn't be cataloging eyeballs or using biometrics for anti-fraud measures at all. It's a really stark reminder that while this tech promises unparalleled convenience and security, the cost is, quite literally, parts of our physical selves. So as AI completely reshapes our economy, the lines between our physical bodies and our digital wallets are blurring way faster than regulators can even keep up with. Between the soaring token prices, the utopian promises, and the very real dystopian fears of a surveillance state, this explainer leaves you with one final question to decide where your own digital identity truly belongs. Will you trade your biometric data for a stake in the AI future? Will you gaze into the orb? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.